welcome to Ann's Craft Room. This month I am joining Ginger's Corner for a scrapbook hop on what she is calling Speedy Scrapbooking. And what it is she has given us 20 or so sketches that we can do process videos on, and then you can watch all the different crafters on their channels and see what their take is on all the different sketches. I hope you like my video. I am using the papers from an old page kit from Kiwi Lane called Social Butterfly, and it is from 2015. This is the sketch I'm going to be using. So I have all my pieces cut. This one is my 12 by 12 and I'm going to use that as the background. And then I have a 4.5 by 12 and this one is 5 by 12, or should be 5 by 12. I actually did not cut it correctly, so as you can see, I kind of welded them together with some strips of paper, and I'm going to use it like that. And then I have this one that is going to be 3.5 by 12 and 3 by 12. And I have this one that is 2.5 by 12 and 2 by 12. And then I have my 2 photo mats. This one is 5 by 7, and then I have a 4.5 by 6.5 to go on top of that, and then I'll have a 4 by 6 picture to go on top of that. So let me get started on putting them together. Okay, first I'm going to take my 4.5 by 12 and I am going to ink it up with some Close to My Heart Peacock. I think it'll help make it stand out against that red paper, and also bring in a little bit of the blue, because I'm not using a lot of blue paper, but I do have one piece of blue paper in there I'm going to use, so I'm going to try and bring it in with some embellishments and the inking. Sorry, I keep going off camera. I apologize. So there's that all inked up. And I'm going to put that right about, probably ½ inch from the edge. All the way to the bottom and all the way to the top. So there's that piece. Next I'm going to take the 5 by 12 piece that I welded together and I'm going to ink that up. And put some tape on it. And that one is gonna, wow. I think I need to change my ink dauber because it is sending flakes of ink onto my paper. Luckily, most of this will be covered up. So I'm going to put this on and then go change my ink dauber. I guess it's getting old. So there's that. Kind of gives it a distressed look though, so I might like it. So for my 2.5 by 12, I'm going to put a decorative edge on it. So I'm going to take my Creative Memories paper cutter, and I think I'm going to use the scallop edge. So I'll bring this out, change my blade, and I'm going to test it on a piece of scrap paper to make sure I know which way it's going. And what I do, so I'm going to put this up here, and I'm only going to put it on the 1/8 inch line, which is this gray dotted line coming down, and cut. And that's not the way I want it to go. I want the scallops on the outside. So what I'm going to do is take this, flip it around, and try it again. Now you can see that I have my scallops on the edge of the paper right here. Now when I go to cut the other side of it, then I will turn it around again instead of flipping my paper. I'll show you what I mean. So here's my 2.5 by 12 inch. I'm going to line it up to that dotted line, so I'm not taking off very much, just 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to cut it, get my scalloped edge. Now I'm going to flip my paper. Actually, this time I am going to flip my paper, but if I didn't want to flip my paper, I could just flip the blade and scallop again. Well, it would help if I had my paper straight. So let's try that again. There we go. So now I have a scalloped edge on both sides. I'm going to tack that down. Put that right here, and it's going to cover up that ink. So there's that. Now I'm going to take my 2 by 12, and I am going to ink that up, and I did get a new ink dauber out. And this one is not flaking out on me. So just remember, you do have to replace your ink daubers. I'm going to say at least once a year if you use them a lot. More often than that. I know mine don't get changed out that often because I'm just now starting to do more scrapbooking at home with doing the videos. So I'm starting to use them more often now. So here's my 2.5 by 12, and that's going to go right down the center of this. You know what? Since I took a little bit off that red, I think I'm going to take a little bit off this too. So I'm going to switch out, put my regular blade back in. And I think I'm going to take off just 1/4 inch, which is the edge of the gray mat. There we go. Make sure I did that even. No. My eyesight must be off today. So let's see. I am going to make that 1 3/4 all the way down. There we go. Now I have a straight edge. See? We all make mistakes. We learn from them and go on. Besides, mistakes in scrapbooking is only a reason for more embellishments. So here I am inking this up again. And I like that better. It has a little bit more of the red in there. So let's put that down. You know what? So I realized while I was recording that I put the wrong piece down here. So I used my handy dandy multi-purpose tool and took it back up. And then I went to my 3.5 by 12 piece of red and I did my scalloped edges on it. And this one is going to come down here. Just like that. And then I took my 3 by 12 and again I cut it down to 2.5 by 12 because after I did those scalloped edges I realized I wanted it just a little bit smaller. So I'm going to put that right here, and that way what that's going to do is my diagonals are not going to be going in the same direction. Now I can put this, after I put a little bit more tape on it since bringing it up, right here, and it's going to cover up where I welded those pieces together. So that's going to go right there. I want a little bit of the butterflies on one side of it, just like that. Nope. Because I can still see my weld, so I am going to bring it over and cover up those butterflies. So right about there. Now if you didn't have to worry about your welding, you could put it anywhere on there you wanted to, but that's how I'm going to do that. Then I have my photo mats, and I'm going to ink up the blue one, and the blue one is 5 by 7. But before I do that, I am going to get a corner rounder. I have this one. I don't remember where I got it, but I do love it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of a decorative corner on it. I'll bring it up to show you in a second. So right there you can see that little decorative corner. Now I'm going to ink it up. And again I'm using that peacock. And this is the only blue piece I'm using. There is blue in all the rest of it, you know, the stripes and the butterflies and stuff, but this is the only actual blue piece I'm using. So that's why I'm trying to bring in a little bit more blue with the inking. And that's going to go right about there. And then I have my red piece, and that is 4.5 by 6.5. Let me get these post-it notes out of the way. They probably look pretty messy. And I'm going to corner around that with that same decorative corner. And that's going to go right here on top of that. Just about like that. Now, I'm one of those that I will also corner around, even decorative, on my photos. So that's what I'm going to do here. Maybe. Well, I think I'm going to cut that off a little bit. Now let's try that again. I'm going to turn it upside down. There we go. Okay, now that I've got those 4 corners rounded, I'm going to put that right there. Well, my screen is frozen, so it's going to keep taking videos, so we'll see what happens. I wanted to pause it for a minute, but it's not letting me. So I have this up here. It says, life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful. And it was the back side of one of these pieces of paper, so I'm going to use that. I think I'm going to still won't let me pause it. I think I'm going to move my picture down just a little bit. I don't know where I would be without my little handy dandy multi-purpose tool, because I use it a lot because I change my mind a lot. So if I put this up here like that and have that act as my title, I can put this down here like this. Yeah, I like that. And then I'm going to corner around these. And then I'm going to ink it up. I'm going to put that right there. And then I have this journaling spot that came with this, so I'm going to just trim it up because when I cut it off the page, I just haphazardly cut it. And that's going to go right down here. And I think I'm going to ink that up too. And that way if I have any little rough edges, it'll kind of camouflage my rough edges. So there's where that's going to go. Okay, now I'll make some embellishments for it. Well, apparently one whole section of my video did not record, so I'll try and go back over what I was talking about. I made my embellishments, and I used, believe these are We Are Memory Keepers nesting punches, and the big one is 1 3/4 inch, the medium is 1 inch, the small is 5/8 inch, and I just use them to punch my scrap paper left over from when I'm cutting things out, and that's what I made these with. And so I just layered them up. Let me try and bring that up closer. So there you can see I have the 3 layers of the butterflies on top of each other, and then I just put foam underneath the bottom layer. And then these butterflies right here I cut out of, it is a old Close to My Heart stamp set called Chelsea Gardens, and it's the stamp and dies. And so I just cut those 3 butterflies out, I colored them in, and then I used a Close to My Heart clear shimmer brush to blend the coloring and give it a little bit of a shine. And then I got out my embellishments, and this is what I use. All my embellishments are in 4x6 cases, and then of course these are in the big case, and I have them in here and in Ziploc bags. And if they're loose, like this one, I will dump these into what I call my boat. It's a little diamond dot tray. I dump these in, get out what I want to use, and then it's easy to pour back into it. And these are all kept down behind my desk so that they're easy to get to when I want to use them. Thank you. So I didn't find any more of those of that color, so I'm going to try and make this work. I'm going to put a couple of small ones over here by this butterfly. I like to do things in threes, so there's 3 of those. And I want a couple of the big ones up here. And I think I'll do 3 of the medium ones over by this other butterfly. And then might as well use up these last 3. So I think I'm going to put them over here by my picture, right here. There we go. And once I do my journaling, I think this page will be complete. So please stop by Ginger's Corner, check out her videos, check out everybody on the Speedy Scrapbooking Hop, and let me know what you think of my layout. Thank you. Have a good day. Don't forget to like and subscribe.